Good morning. Today we're going to talk a little bit about, thank you by the way, and now I'm feeling very old. I mean, the beard helps, but somehow internally. We're going to talk a little bit about the mechanics of vision. You had an experience learning a little bit about how the eye works, yes? Okay. And you understand how light comes into the eye and is very much like a very sophisticated camera, except that it's better than any camera that we've ever invented so far. Now I'm going to talk to you about how this camera, or this biological camera, and another camera, which you have two of, right, can synchronize that information to give you more information than one camera can give. You know when you go to a 3D movie and you put on the glasses and you see the image appear 3D? Well, you're seeing that all the time without the 3D glasses. That simulates what you see. But you see more than that. And that's what we're going to explain today and give you a little bit of what that means to you and how you use it. The next lecture will be how do you take that and learn to think with it. And that's to come. So today we're going to work on the mechanics of how the two eyes work together with the brain. So basically this blurry picture here, we're going to work with basically, and by the way, you don't really have these in your head, okay? But neurologically we do. And there are these guys here in the red that move the eyes, okay? So they work the eyes together to be able to move and track and to coordinate two eyes looking close, looking far, okay? The other guy in blue, I can't tell if it's a guy or a girl, it has to do with focusing. And you know that the eye teaming, the eye movements, have to do with the muscles, the 6 extraocular muscles, the muscles that control the eye. You saw those pictures of that?
Do you remember some of the things
you remember those?
Last week, or a couple weeks ago, it's been a little while, how they move up and down and left and right, all those different ways that our eyes move.
Right, you remember that?
That was our last lecture.
Shake your heads.
Just
yes, very good, thank you. Okay, so the second one has to do with, remember the ciliary body and the lens and remember that? And the pupil, yeah?
So the ciliary lens is the one that moves the frisbee, right? That makes the frisbee go bigger, the crystalline lens, and make the eye either magnify or minify for what we're looking at, right? And then the pupil is the hole in the eye, right? You know, the pupil.
Right, like the aperture on a lens. Like in a camera, we make it bigger and smaller, okay? All this information helps the optic nerve, the retina and the optic nerve send information to this hub. Now, in the brain, it's separated into many different areas, but it eventually works to the cortex in the back of the head, and that links, between that and other parts of the brain, links taste, touch, hearing, and smell. So, if I drew an apple here, okay, like a little apple, you would know what that looks like, right? You'd know what its name is. You'd know what it looks like in the world, what an apple looks like. You can taste it, okay? You can smell it. You know what an apple smells like. You know what it tastes like. You know how heavy it is. If I put it up here, you know how to get up from your chair and go over and reach for it and time your steps so you don't walk into the wall before you hit the apple. You do that all from vision. And today we're going to talk about the mechanics of how that happens. Okay, so we have eye teaming, eye focusing, ooh, hello. Eye teaming, eye focusing, eye movements, and anti-gravity. And we're going to talk a little bit about each of those. Okay, thank you. All right. So eye teaming has to do with localization and manipulation of space. In other words, where am I? Where is it? And how do I move to get it? Okay? So if you want to go and put the key in the car to start it, you have to find the key, look at where you want to put it in, and get it into the right position. Right? Your ability to use both eyes and efficiency and as an efficient team. Now, there are monocular clues too. In other words, a person with one eye who is only using one eye has certain clues about what's going on around them. In other words, who has been in a train? Been in a train? Fine. You notice when you're in a train, or even when you're in a car, the things that are closer to the car appear to move more quickly than the ones far away. Yeah? If you look at the mountain, it seems to move very slowly. But if you look at the telephone poles, they seem to whiz by. And that's because they're closer. So you have learned that there is a way for you to tell which is closer. Also, if you've ever taken an art course, you know that things that are closer appear larger. They appear more colorful because the colors get lost as you move further away. And the outlines are more defined. So there are some clues that we have with one eye that are underlying what both eyes are working when both eyes are working. Because both eyes working together tells you more information. Number one, it gives you 2 points of view. And your brain must put together those 2 points of view to make meaning. Now, I want you to understand, one of the things that I love about working in this field is that we're not looking at something that's rigid. Everyone has a visual system that works for them. Sometimes it's efficient, sometimes it's not efficient. But generally it works the same, but specifically for you works different. And the things that help you to define, so like someone who has very good depth of perception would be a good basketball player. Someone who has very poor perception at distance, but only sees clearly up close, often is a better reader because their world is close. So they organize around what they have. All right. The ability to line your eyes accurately on a target and combine or fuse the images from both eyes into one 3D image. Okay. But before I explain this more, I would like you to do your little play with them. I'm going to do that.
You got it. So we'll move here. Okay, so we have the pen and caps. Everybody, go ahead and take what you're holding, your pencil or pen. You can choose either one. Okay, what I want you to do is basically, well, first do the near and far one to begin with. So what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and look, bring your pen about, well, you put your hand up to your face about this far away from your nose. Okay? And so I want you to look now, I want you to look at me. Okay? And I want you to look at your pen.
Now line it up with her face.
Oh, this is going to get tricky. Just watch. It's going to be exciting. I'm going to pop out. Something
You're
scary. Okay, you ready? So now look at me. Everybody's looking at me. Hi. Okay, good. All right, so now I want you to look at your pen. Look at your pen. Something happened mysteriously. While you're looking at your pen, did something happen to me? Can you keep both in awareness? Try it again. Make me do it. You have to do it this way. Can't have it vertical. The horizontal, got to keep it vertical. Okay? So while looking at me, keeping me, while you look at me, do you see, how many pins do you see? Two pens.
Who sees one? Okay.
Okay.
Hold it up a little higher. Move it a little further away from you.
And yours more towards the middle of where your nose is.
Good. When you're looking at the pen, how many of her do you see?
2.
Good. When you look at her, how many pens do you see? Good.
Wow.
Try that.
What just happened?
You had trouble also?
Okay, so try it again.
Hold it up a little.
Looking
That's
at
it.
the pen, so look at the pen, and then look at me, and look at the pen.
Do you see
What
two?
also,
Okay.
do you see how it makes that phenomenon of when you look at the pen, how you see two images? What that allows us to do is it allows us to tell us, we use this type of trick or phenomenon of being able to see how if we're using both eyes. If you're not using both eyes, then a lot of times what happens is you're only seeing one of either image. It also shows you of how your eyes are coming in to work as a team and how that feels different. And how when you're getting an eye exam, sometimes with a critical piece of making sure that we evaluate how the eyes are teaming together and the importance of that, instead of just having an exam where you're looking at distance and covering an eye to make sure that works, we want to see how both the system works, of the distance system and the near system as a team. So now, should we do the pin and the cap?
Yes,
now,
please.
you've done this before, but we did this in the first evaluation. One person came up to me. I think you came up and was my assistant. But I would like you all to try this. So who has pins and caps? Let's see, you guys are going to pair up and do this. We got to experience this a little bit, okay? Why don't you guys go together, pin and cap? Pin and cap, we're going to pass them around a little bit. You got a pin and a cap? We'll pass these around. Everybody has to go find a partner. Okay, pin and cap. And we have more. Here's a pen and a cap. You got a pen and a cap, that's great. That'll work. And so what I want you guys to do is realizing the importance of experiencing this. You guys get markers. Oh, be nice to each other, please. All right. Okay, so everybody pick a partner. You guys pick a partner. What I want you to do, and I'll take an assistant. Does somebody want to? You guys, what we're going to do is I'll try to demonstrate. Would you come over here and be my partner? See, that way the people that are in the front don't have to worry about being called on. I like that one. Okay, so when we do this one, basically what you're going to be doing is you're going to be doing this at 3 different measurements. Because I want to see how you do. First with both eyes, right? You're again putting the pin in the cap. 1, okay, and 2. So I'm going distance, 2, near, okay? And then when you cover an eye, and then you get to play the game again, okay? 1. Oh, interesting, but I want you to experience it. You guys are going to talk to us just a little bitty bit about the differences, yes? Okay, 2. Oh, she got it. Okay, you guys are on. So go ahead and
Right, if they hold it sideways, it's easy, it's a little easier.
Oh, you want to do it sideways?
Yeah, try
Okay,
it.
so you can do it both sideways and
Try it this way. Here. Let me
okay,
show
so
you. So you take this, place that inside. Take it out. Do it again. You feel your eyes working?
Yeah.
Good. Take it out. Now cover up one eye or close one eye. Now try it. Take it out. See, you lose that information. Good. No problem. Cover up one eye. Right. So you really do need 2 eyes working together. Thank you. Okay. Did you get the feeling that with it? Okay. Is there a difference between what you experience with both eyes working and open and with one eye closed? Anybody get no difference? Okay. So it's harder, isn't it? Yeah? Okay. Yes.
Covering one eye was harder than covering the other eye? No.
Yes, that's right. Because one eye is the sighting eye, and that will give you a little bit more information because you can pick up size different. Okay? But really, to get the accurate putting one in the other, you need both eyes working together. Okay? That's why when we do surgery, for taking something out of somebody's eye or something like that, we use a microscope with 2 oculars, with 2 magnifiers. And it's lined up so that we can get very, very good depth perception. Otherwise, we can't do the surgery. Okay?
So now you get the experience between doing a monocular experience, so those that you can function this way, right? You can see the world and you can figure things out. But of really understanding depth and appreciating space, it becomes a different experience, becomes your own experience. And each one had a different, you find some people were able to get it the first time, some people would get it maybe 2 or 3 times later. Others, didn't find it as much of a change or didn't mention it. Okay, so everybody had their own experience. What Dr. Friedel had mentioned was that we have our own unique experience, and as we go through those experiences, then we have to figure out, like the second time, wow, well now you readjust of how you were thinking that before, and that's the uniqueness of vision, is it's reevaluating each time.
There's a funny story. When I've been in practice for a little bit, and I had a resident. I used to teach a postgraduate residency, and I had a resident come over and said, "I have this very strange, this patient who's doing something very strange." And I said, "Well, what are they doing?" He says, "Well, when I ask them to do a 3-dimensional task up here, they shake their head sideways." And I said, "Oh, what they're doing is simulating both eyes working together. But instead of doing it simultaneously, with both eyes working together, they're taking one eye and then they're moving it. So they're substituting time for both working at the same time. So they got the depth, but they had to move their head in order to do it." You can imagine how difficult it was for that person to do things like playing chess or something like that. They had to figure out each time what they were doing. Okay, so we're talking about both eyes working together. Now, there is also something that has to do with both eyes working together, is that if you're looking at me and both eyes are looking at me, you have a relationship between what we call central vision and peripheral vision. And this relationship is always changing. So that if you're reading something that's very, very small and tight, or you're threading a needle, okay, does anybody thread a needle? Yeah? Okay, when you thread a needle, your central vision is very, very tight and very critical, okay? But if you're writing your homework, well, it's a little bigger. If you're driving a car, you're looking straight ahead at where you're going, or you may move right to left to see cars on the right and left, but your peripheral vision, your side vision, is telling you information as well, okay? So that your peripheral vision, and we're going to talk a lot about this in a moment, but your peripheral vision helps to tell you where you are in relation to other things and how you're moving. Okay, let's go to the next. We did that, and now we're at eye focusing. And eye focusing is the ability to change focus from near to distance distances and hold target clearly at each distance. So, if you're copying off the chalkboard, I know we don't have chalkboards anymore, whiteboards, right? Okay, so you look at the whiteboard and you see something, and then you have to look down here. But when you're looking here, that's not clear. So as you look up, your eyes focus, but your eye teaming tells you where to look. So your eye teaming tells you I'm looking at 20 feet, and my eye focusing links at 20 feet. And there's a relationship in the brain, in your mind, that tells you for each amount that I look in close, I focus a certain amount. Now, I know you don't have any relationship to this, but as you get over 40, you'll see that people say, "Oh, my arms are too short." In other words, when they go to read, they have to hold it out here. And the reason is because the lens inside their eye has gotten older and they can't focus as much. So even though their eyes are telling them to look at 20 inches to read or 16 inches to read, their focusing can't focus that much. So then they have to hold it out to where they can focus. All right? But for you, you're still young and strong, so you look at 20 feet, you focus at 20 feet, you look at close, and you focus at close. All right? All these dynamics of eye teaming, eye focusing, and eye movements are all happening seamlessly and together at the same time, simultaneously. So the information you don't even realize consciously how your eyes are teaming, focusing, and moving unless you're seeing double. Okay, and so like you've gotten a head injury, and so with certain closed head injuries, people start to see double. That's devastating to them. They don't know which doorknob to handle, they don't know which car to drive because they're seeing two of everything. It's very, very disruptive. Okay, so eye focusing. Would you focus for me, please?
So as we look at this, so this is kind of a demonstration of with the lens.
This is a pencil.
So they're looking at the pencil. You see the pencil, and now it goes back and looks at the clock, and then it comes back and focuses in on the pencil. And that whole piece is an image to be able to acknowledge. And she's like, this is interesting.
How did it turn to the side? Oh, well.
We'll move that one
Correct
out. That
now.
was kind of fun.
Okay.
Woo! We'll take you guys for a spin. So when you're focusing in, I want you to bring your pencil back out again, and now just cover an eye. So what we do when we're training you guys, first we're training you guys of how to be able to bring your eyes in and back out again. But if you individually see what's going on, if you bring your almost about like a couple inches away from your eye, bring your pencil pretty close in. See, or bring it out here actually, and see how close that you can bring it in until it starts to get fuzzy. Right now you are testing that crystalline lens or that frisbee in your eye to see how much you can move it. Okay, now I don't want you to put them down. Keep them up. Keep them up. So as you're bringing that inward, I want you to see, okay, now as I'm looking at that image, can I make it clear? Now that it's blurry, can I bring it in a little bit more? Can I focus it in a little bit more? How clear can I make it? Do I need to bring it out a little bit further? Go ahead and make sure that you cover an eye. Go ahead and cover an eye and just bring it in super close. Go ahead and bring it all the way in. And as you're bringing it in, hold it there. Now bring it out a little bit more. And as you're playing with that, be aware of what's to the side of you. And by being aware of what's to the side of you, it gives your brain more information about what that information is and how you're able to see. Now do the other side. Is it the same distance or not?
Depth perception.
Yeah, there you go. So as you're bringing it in, is it the same? Is it closer? Is it further away? And what we assume is it's the same. But honestly, quite different. Most of the time, it's a little different. Because we have a dominance. And we have developed a dominance, and we have integrated the system and practiced it again and again and again the same way to keeping that system to work. It's a little different here, a little different here. You guys may have a little difference in shoe size, a little difference in the way that you walk, a little difference in the way that you lead. All of that works around your perception, the way that you perceive information, and how you take it in. Okay, and so that's how you decide to read information. As you're reading a book, or as you're driving in the car, and then you get a little bit confused with while you're driving and where everybody is in space, or where the cop is, right? Where the police car is while you're driving. Oh my gosh, I see the side. You put the brake on, right? I say like an instant. I don't know if you guys are the same way that I am, but instantly I go for my brake, even if it doesn't matter where I am, right, or what I'm doing. I got to put the brake on, just because I'm not quite sure that that I'm right on the mark or not. I tend to be a little bit extra, so I kind of that's my momentum. That was my habit of going just a little bit over. So I tend to kind of be aware of that. So I know where everybody else is, and if I see that those lights going around, my heart goes and I can pull it in a little bit. So those are all reactions that we do habitually, right? Okay? So this is talking about that focusing piece to integrate with the teaming piece. And how, when you're thinking about that picture again, how the information comes in of using those muscles, little elves in there working, right, which really are neurons, that are stimulating to say, okay, brain, go this way, go this way. Now let me bring this image in. So now I can go to one part of the brain, and then I can recalibrate just to figure out what I'm going to do with that, and then go back around again and recalibrate how my eyes are going to move. And that's what you guys, that's all of you are doing when you're in the therapy room. Or in the training room, right? In that training room, you guys are recalibrating it to make it work. And that's why it's critical for you to understand that. Learn your system now. Learn your nuances to be able to tell us or to show us what's going on and how it's different. The more that you're aware of that, the more you consciously can take an unaware area, what to do with it, and make it aware and conscious so that you can make a change. If you don't know, that's why we're breaking it all down, right? Breaking it all down so you see all these different parts, and then we put it together so when you get the key to put it in the keyhole, that it's correct. but it's not incorrect. When you look at your piece of paper and you read your words, that they're clear and single and easy to see with less attention, because it requires much power in your brain to keep it fired for you to focus. So each of these are critical.
Working one more thing with this is that, you know, when you're driving and you look down at your speedometer and then you look up, okay? Now that takes time. The more efficient you are, the less time it takes. So hold your pencil up again. Okay? So look at the pencil and get the pencil as clear as you can, or pen. Now look up here. Get the word classroom clear. Ooh, he didn't like that at all. Look at the pen, get it clear. Look at classroom, get it clear. Look at the pen, get it clear. What does it feel like? You feel the strain a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tell me about it.
It's like a short second. You feel like it's kind of like a straining feeling.
Like pressure.
Yeah. It feels like that.
Yes,
Thank you.
you're cranking in the focusing in, but you're not doing it consciously. Okay? When you're doing vision therapy, when you're doing some of the play that you're doing in the other room, that will happen almost instantaneously and you won't even be aware of it because it'll happen naturally. Okay?
I really last. Is that like, I think it was the rock one?
Yes, accommodative.
The accommodative rock, that's called accommodative rock. Accommodation is focusing, rock is going back and forth.
Yeah, I can really feel the eyes like switching.
Yeah, and it'll happen more rapidly and more efficiently as you do the exercise. All these things are trainable. But you have to have the awareness to be able to train them. And the awareness comes with the gadgets that we have.
And that was also.
I'm sorry, go ahead. And the gadgets that we have and the therapists that are working with you. Sorry.
So the other piece that you'd mentioned is it's flipping back and forth, that you guys are wearing the red-green glasses. Why? Why do you wear the red-green glasses? Tell me. You're a great answer. Yes. Why do you wear the red-green glasses? Tell me why. For depth perception, exactly. Exactly. That's a part of saying, are my eyes working together? Can I, does one, sometimes you were mentioning that one eye actually blinked off and on and wasn't staying on the whole time. One eye appeared a little bit more brighter than the other. So it's telling you of a system of where the dominance is and when the system starts to get tired, who tuckers out first, and how that binocularity or that eye teaming ability starts to fail on you, and then you don't have the ability to move efficiently as you're trying to read or process information.
Okay, let's go on to, all right. Anti-gravity, well, nice word. Anti-gravity means working with what pulls you down to the earth. Okay? So if you don't have a relationship between anti-gravity, between down and up, and your visual system, then certain things happen. We're going to discuss that. So basically, eye movements is the ability to follow an object smoothly with both eyes. And a saccade, or saccade, is a jump from one target to the other. So, an eye movement, if you don't mind, this is a smooth eye movement, and her eyes are moving smoothly and efficiently. Okay, she just lost it for a moment. Okay, so your eyes should move smoothly. They shouldn't be jerky. They shouldn't overshoot and then correct. Okay? Now, if you don't have good eye movements, number one, you will lose your place when you're reading. Anybody lose their place when they're reading? Right. You read the same line over twice. You get to the end of a line, you go read the same line over again. Right? The reason for that is partly the relationship between your eye movements and eye teaming and your peripheral vision. Because peripheral vision tells you where the next word is. At the end of the line, peripheral vision tells you where the next line is. Okay? So that if you're looking at me, you can still see my hands. Okay? So move to this hand. You can still see this hand working, can't you? Now look at this hand. Okay? Now move from one to the other. Do you feel inside, if you're very sensitive, you can feel your eyes getting there and then having to make a switch. Like, in other words, they go, "Ee-er." Okay, this hand, got it? This hand, got it? This hand, got it? This hand, got it? Do you feel the undershooting or overshooting? Okay, well, you're probably doing that with reading as well. So as you do these exercises and as you learn more about your visual system, they will become more efficient. So you don't have those little extra moves. Okay?
And that's similar to the computer program that you all do when you have the E that just sort of moves around, and then you have the jumping arrows that go around. So you have your pursuit, and then you have your saccade. Why do we work both? Because it's important to have both abilities, so that when you decide, when you're reading, you have to have both so intertwined that the two are really inseparable. They can move together as a team.
Right. Actually, a pursuit theoretically is an infinite amount of small saccades. In other words, when you make a nice smooth movement, it's really but they're very, very small movements. Okay? It's like a circle is an infinite amount of chords to make a circle. Okay? So you have all these little movements that make a nice smooth movement. And that's learned. All right. Let's go to trying to keep us on time here. Okay. Balance and eye movements. Go for it.
So as we move forward on this one, should I take somebody from the back? Someone from the back would be my guinea pig? You my guinea pig? All right, come on, guinea pig. All right, so we deal with eye movements.
Good
The
eye.
piece that's of interest is that we talk about balance with eye movements. Okay, so when you're doing this, you want to be able to see is that can I be able to follow? First, being able to follow a target. Okay, then as he's following around, he does it really well. Look how balanced he is. There's no movement in his body at all. However, if I ask him to go ahead and stand on one foot, okay, and then follow, what happens is he starts to move in the direction of where. So it changed things up a little bit, yes? Okay, so go ahead and have the scene. That's some of the reasons what we were looking at is how much if I try to see how much can I change, put pressure on your balancing and your eye movements. How intersync are they? Are they playing together, or can they be persuaded by how your eyes are moving? Because that also interplays with how your ears are connecting with your vision. So this all has a symphony of working together. How the head is moving, how the body is moving, and how your eyes are moving. It all plays a scene to be able to recalibrate to make the system work. So why don't you guys all get to stand up and go back to your partners. And what I want you to do is just to experience this one time, is to move standing and then on one foot.
You doing with the reading?
It's just explaining it. You just did that.
Okay.
I'll just
Okay. That's what I thought. Okay. Okay. Gonna make her fall down?
So wait, first we do it without balancing?
Yes, please. You just move it side to side. Slowly, slowly.
Oh, she's cheating over there.
Don't be that
All right,
mean.
Mary, you
Okay,
got it.
good. Okay, now pick one foot off the ground.
I'm in dance, so I'm good at balancing.
Yes,
Oh,
you
so
are.
So what do you do? What do you do?
How do you do that?
Balance.
What did you learn?
Well, I don't know, like, we usually put our arms out or like, we're evenly balanced because we like keep our core and our
Yeah.
arms.
Thank you. You're aware, so while you're keeping your balance, a lot of times keeping your balance, you're looking to the either side to make sure you know who you are, you can feel your center
Right.
grounded. Yeah. Great.
Okay, have a seat again, thank you. Now, there's an interesting relationship between the balls of your feet, the sensors on the bottom of your feet, and your ankles. There are a tremendous amount of sensors in your ankles and your feet. Okay, and the inner ear and your vision. Okay? The inner ear, has anybody ever seen pictures of what the inner ear looks like? There's two parts of the ear. There's the hearing part and there's the balance part. So you've seen that. And it looks like three canals, and they're shaped like one on this side, one on this side, and one sort of like that. And those canals have little hairs in them, little cilia, little hairs in them. And they also have little rocks, little calcium rocks, we call them otoliths. And those little rocks, every time you move, they fall on some of the hairs. And the hairs say, oh, I'm moving, my head is to the right. Oh, my head is straight, my head is to the left. They also, because they're in the situation they are, every time you move and you accelerate, not if you're going the same speed, but if you go faster or slower, the rocks fall against other hairs and they tell you you're accelerating. So when you get into a car and you put your foot down to the gas and all of a sudden you're moving forward very quickly, your head moves backward and you can feel the acceleration. Well, that tells you when you're standing on one foot, and we were talking about this young woman is a dancer. And when she started to move, when we started to do the movement, her balance was perfect. Okay? And the reason is because she's learned to balance what her inner ear and her feet and her peripheral vision, all those clues to tell her not to move, to keep her balance while her eyes are moving. Okay?
And so that's one thing that we did with the sports team at the university, is with the entire softball teams, we put them on rocker boards, and while they were on rocker boards that were pretty difficult, then they had to move. They had to keep their core balance, and we would say right up, left down, right up, and they'd have to go at such a fast pace to see how quickly they could move and keeping their balance. And after a while, some of them even started playing on one foot on the balance board with the spinning rotator. And you continue to follow that rotator and keeping their balance and try to put the peg in the hole at a certain rotation. Why is that critical? Why would that be important for sports? Any ideas? Yes?
And coordination and balance.
You bet. You bet. The more that the system, that we can take all of these parts and fine-tune each system individually and then put it together, so that now when you're starting to reassess and say, almost like it's a feed forward to tell the brain, oh wow, you're moving this way, you're moving that way, and the parts in the canal are saying, okay, oh, you're moving off to the side. Well, how do I rebalance my system and my perception of where I am to keep it on, right? And as things are moving more and more, how do I react? Well then, now when I go out in the field, I can be able to say, if somebody's trying to steal the ball, I am so balanced that I see that immediately out in my periphery that I know I can move there before I can move there instantaneously and much faster. In addition to, as I'm getting ready to swing at the ball, right? As there's making those really itty-bitty pursuit, my movement or my itty-bitty saccadic movements, I can know how strong my body is as I'm getting ready to make the hit, as everybody is readjusting themselves on the field. So I know how to reposition myself effectively to hit it out and make my home run, or my base hit that nobody gets, right? And that's also when you're driving, of being aware where you are, even forgetting where the police cars are, right? Of knowing where you are safely while you're driving. To be able to see, okay, as I'm making my adjustments, I can see all around me, and I can look forward, and I can look back, and I can look off to the side, and if there's a child that's running across the road, I can be able to know that there's a child running across the road, and I know that there's another person over here, another person that's having trouble of going a little slower on the road, and I can be able to adjust effectively. Okay? So those are all some multitask, and you use those with everything that you do and how you incorporate. So as we move on.
Right. I just want to add one more. Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, that's all right. Anti-gravity. It is your frame of reference to where you are in space. Where you look is where you go. Now, this is an important thing. How many people get carsick? Yeah. Yeah. How about seasick? You too? Okay. Now, Carsick sickness and seasickness are very similar, but there are different remedies. Most people who get car sick have difficulty because they're looking up close and their peripheral vision is telling them information that they don't like. In other words, what's the first thing your parents tell you when you're in the back of the car and they're driving and all of a sudden you're saying, oh, my tummy is upset? They say, don't read in the car, right? I'm sorry?
They just happen to stick out the head out the window if I'm feeling sick.
What are you, a puppy?
No, because if I...
Oh, I see, that's preventative, I understand. So in case you're gonna get sick, I understand. I don't think in those terms. Yes, but the most important thing is, if you're looking out in front of the car, then your peripheral vision is telling you information that gels with your movement. But if you're looking down and you're reading, the peripheral vision is telling you you're moving, but your reading isn't telling you you're moving. So you have a mismatch between what your eyes are telling you and what your experience is with your semicircular canals and all those other sensory information, touch, taste, smell, movement, okay? When you're in a ship, one of the first things that people notice is that if they're below decks, and all of a sudden the ship is moving and it's moves side to side, that all of a sudden they get seasick, is because their visual system is telling them that they're stable, and their inner ear is telling them move to side to side. So the first thing they should do is get up on the deck and look at the horizon. Immediately, your seasickness will go away within seconds. Try it. The information that your peripheral vision and your central vision is critical. You know, Dr. Pollack was talking a little about sports, but let me make a little aside. You know, when you were a kid and somebody took you, I hope they taught you how to catch a football or a baseball or a basketball, right? When you're very little, they throw the basketball at you or they throw the football at you, the little Nerf ball, and it hits your body, and then you go down and pick it up. Okay? And then little by little, they teach you that you close your hands to try to catch the ball. But you're trying to close your hands with the ball, but you haven't learned how to use your eyes to tell your hands when to catch the ball. Then you learn how to catch the ball, and then they throw it off to the side, and it falls on the ground because you haven't learned that you are not linear anymore. It's not going right toward you. You have to move to the side to catch it. Right? That is visual learning. That is your mind and your body learning how to see, how to use vision. So vision is a learned process. It's not something that you get and all of a sudden it's poured into you. Eyesight, maybe. Clear image on the back of the eye, that's more innate. But the ability to move in space and learn through your vision, that's learned. And you can learn, just as any skill, you can learn it efficiently and you can learn it inefficiently. And the more efficient you are, the better the information goes, and at least you can use it more. All right. Now, real quick, yeah, do we have a little more time? Okay. I used to, yeah, go ahead.
Question on that last experiment we did. Does it artificially change your center of balance?
Your center of balance has to do with where you perceive your center to be. And that has to do with the relationship between your body and your vision. Right? So yes, it changes. Exactly. There's a real quick story that I'll tell you. When I used to ride, I wasn't always old. When I was younger, my son and I used to ride motorcycles, and we drove on-road, and then we bought off-road motorcycles, and we were experimenting with off-road motorcycles, and I was driving up in Pinal County, in that place where the airplanes are, and I'm driving on one of those little roads, off-road, and it's all sandy and everything, and you come to a split in the road, and there's a bush right in the middle, and I looked at the bush, and I rode right into the bush. Everybody laughed, And I got up and I went around the loop again, and I came down and I rode right into the bush 3 times. I mean, I was really embarrassed. Here I am, an adult, and I'm riding into a bush, okay? And one of the persons next to me, who was an advanced rider, said, no, don't look at the bush, okay? So I went around again, and I took my head and I went like this, and I pushed my head to the side, and all of a sudden I didn't hit the bush. And I started to think about, what does that have to do with visual information? And what it is that where you look is where you go. So if you look this way, you'll have a tendency to move that way. The other thing is, if you look down, you have a tendency to go down. Okay? If you're walking across a narrow bridge, and you look at the bridge, and you look right at your feet, your balance will be off because you don't have as much peripheral vision. So you look at the end of the bridge, and your peripheral vision is open, and then you can use that to cross the bridge better. Okay? So when you're driving, one of the things you learn when you're driving is you look as far down the road as you can, especially in curvy roads, because you're looking at where you have to make the next turn so that your driving becomes automatic. Does everybody drive here? Okay? When you were first learning to drive, you remember how you oversteered the car? Right? It's because you were looking at the front of the car. If you look at the front bumper, if you look at the front of the car, because that's where the end of your car stops, then you're doing this all the time. But if you look down the road, your body just goes like this automatically. And that's what you learn. You don't know you're learning that, but that's the visual part of what you've learned. All right.
Fabulous. Thank you. So we're going to play a little, just to see one more experience of how you perceive information changes where you move your body. Okay? Was there someone that would like to be interested to be our last volunteer of the day? I'll take you to the back. Come on. Okay, you're great. You'll be able to explain it all. Can you hold this one? So we're going to put this here.
I'll move it up a little bit because we're out of the frame.
We're out of the All right, and then I'm going to have you stand back here. You can hang with me, right? You good? All right. All right, he's a little red. That's okay. All right, so all I want you to do is go and sit in the chair. It's not hard. See, this wasn't a bad example. You did it well. Didn't you? You did it well. Can you stand up again? And do it one more time. You just go one more time and go and stand and walk to the chair. Okay. So as you see, he didn't even touch anything, right? He didn't touch the chair. He didn't even hit the sides of the chair. So what we're finding out a lot is how much, even when I just got back from a conference in Sedona, how much now that we're looking at when we start evaluating people that have trauma or any other type of even a quick rear end from a car accident, how much that can change brain function and also visual processing. And so now we're going back and watching how bodies move through space before we give them different types of prescriptions. And one of those types of prescriptions we give them is PRISM, because PRISM changes the way we perceive the way the world is. It moves the world from side to side. So I'm going to have you go and stand up, and I'm going to put these on for you. Okay, right? I'm going to wear these. Okay, and now.
Very cool.
Very cool. You look fabulous. Okay, now I want you to go, and and walk to the chair. Oh, good. Was it any different?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me what was different.
I can really tell what the chair was.
Okay, so it was a little bit more uncertain. So I want you to be a little bit more careful as you go. Should I go up a little bit? Dr. Fidel?
What's that? Oh, yeah, go to 8. Yeah.
Okay.
Or you can have them just walk the line.
Okay, come on over again. We're going to do this one more time, and I want you to tell me a little bit what's different. Okay, but go slowly. Okay. Does the world look different? and go ahead and walk towards the chair or walk around the chair. Can you walk around the chair?
Not really.
You see how he's hitting the chair? Okay, all right. And maybe if just follow along this line, or go from here to here. Just walk along the straight line here for me.
Oh, no.
Oh,
He's very
smart.
sneaky. He's very sneaky.
Very smart.
He goes heel
I
to
love
toe.
it.
That was very good.
So what looks different to you? How did it change?
Feels like you're drunk.
Okay.
Actually,
All right.
Know anything about
Of
no.
course.
But actually, that's what happens when you drink, is your relationship between center and periphery changes.
So what it's doing is we can pass this around later on in the lab. Thank you. We can pass this around the lab. So what it's doing is it's changing how you perceive where you are. It skews it from left to right. It bends the light effectively so that now how you move your body is going to be different by the way you perceive where you are in space. Did it change how you moved your body around? Did you feel a little more awkward of moving? Yeah. So kind of like you were drunk. It felt like you didn't know where you were going. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we can change, the power of vision is huge. Now, how you can change how you look at things and how you view, how you perceive information and how your body responds plays a big piece of how you're going to open up a door, to sit in a chair, to drive a car, to read a book. So as we move here then, on our last,
Right, we did the prisms. Ooh.
so as we go back to the beginning,
Can you make that a little smaller? Okay, that doesn't matter. Okay, so eye teaming, eye movements, eye focusing, anti-gravity. So you can understand how beautifully this visual system that we have, not just the eyeballs, but the relationship between the vision, between what you see and how you use it, has to do with the way you read, the way you move, the way you think, the way you perceive other people, the way you relate to other people. If you don't know where you are, then you're not going to relate to people in a way that gives you a center. Okay, one of the most important things, one of the most poignant things that we see with people, with some of the soldiers that have come back with closed head injuries that we see, is that their relationship between, when their visual systems become distorted, their relationship between themselves and other people changes. Not just the visual systems, but their perception of who they are and where they are in space. Okay, so you're going to experience some of these things when you're working in our laboratory and you're doing these experiments and you're learning a little bit about how your eyes work. And you're going to experience this when you're driving and when you're walking and when you're relating to other people. Okay.
thank you.
Any questions?
All right.
Okay.
All right.
No
Well,
questions.
Thank you.
Thank you very
guys.
much.
You guys are awesome.
Have a good day.